Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. So I'm going to do this quick live stream while I wait for my colleague. Um, about this Kendall Jenner situation. She posted a photograph on Vogue. There's this Vogue photograph where she has this Afro hairstyle, and a lot of black women and just people in general are calling this out as cultural appropriation. So there's been a lot of controversy about this, and Vogue magazine issued an apology, and they basically said, well, they apologize if people felt like they were offended and all that kind of stuff. I'll post a link to the actual story in the description box so that you can read it for yourself. And basically, they said that their intent was to um, imitate the Gibson hairstyle. And if you go and read the article, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. You can actually click a link on there in terms of where it says Gibson hairstyle, and you'll actually see samples of what that hairstyle looks like. So I encourage you all to check out that article. But I just wanted to share my thoughts about this real quick and briefly in this live stream. The first thing I'll say is this. I understand why people would be outraged in terms of cultural appropriation. We see it a lot where you have other people take elements of our culture and use it for financial gain, or they use it in a way that it mocks African Americans, and there's a long history of that. And this can be interpreted in that kind of way, so I understand why people would be outraged about that. Um, so that's one thing. And then, when you go into the history of minstrel shows and blackface and all that kind of stuff, how they were actually mocking black culture, it's understandable why somebody would look at this with suspicion. Given a long history of cultural appropriation where people steal elements of our culture and profit from it. And one thing that makes this, problematic for a lot of black women is because it's like a situation where black women are being erased and replaced with, non-black women or, you know, white women or biracial women and stuff like that. So it's like they no longer need a black woman's image if they can get, white women or other women to present, African type styles without African people. So those concerns are very real. And, I completely understand why people would be outraged. Um, so I get that. But my whole thing is, I think that obviously I think that there are more important issues besides a hairstyle. And I've heard some people on here basically try to dismiss this and say, well, black women culturally appropriate white women all the time, so why are black women complaining? And in response to that, I'll say this, unfortunately, it's not a situation where black women are actually appropriating, white culture. What it is a situation where, our people have been so thoroughly indoctrinated and programmed that they feel that they have to assimilate in order to fit into this society. So they feel the need to change who they are in order to be more accepted and embraced in a society that has set up a white standard of beauty. So they will, you know, perm their hair or buy weaves and wear weaves and wigs and all that kind of stuff because they think that that's what's required in order for them to be more attractive. And part of the thing is this, a lot of brothers have been programmed as well, like programmed to view long, straight hair as the standard of, what a woman's hair should look like. So a lot of women feel some kind of pressure to fit that kind of mold. So it's not a situation where it's cultural appropriation. In fact, I think it's a manifestation of, cultural oppression. It's a manifestation of, a desire to be validated and accepted and, a desire to assimilate into this larger dominant society. So I don't see this two things as one and the same. And I just think it's a shame that you have so many black men who are so quick to defend, um, the Jenners and the Kardashians and these other people that have been accused of cultural misappropriation. And while they defend these white women, they're eager to bash black women. And, I just think that that's sickening and it reflects the sunken place syndrome that exists among some of our men. But anyway, I just wanted to share my thoughts on here for a second. I see this one person has commented. So, yeah, so tell me what y'all think. Please rate, comment, and subscribe, and let's see what this brother is talking about. Um, yeah, I definitely think that we need to focus on more important things. I definitely agree with that. Um, and, unfortunately, uh, people are more fixated on these types of things than they are on other issues that are even more important, like issues like voter suppression, for instance. I did a video talking about voter suppression in Georgia. I did a video about these racist robocalls that have gone out here in Florida. And, I haven't seen many people in the black sector YouTube talking about those types of things, but they're more quick to talk about these types of things to deal with culture. And there is a place for it. It does have some importance. It is relevant, but there are issues that are more relevant to our lives that have a more direct impact on our lives than, somebody posting um, a photograph in Vogue or on Vogue's Instagram. But cultural appropriation is an important issue. And I just felt the need to share my thoughts on it because, I just noticed that a lot of brothers just kept saying, well, you know, these women are, the ones, black women are the ones culturally appropriating. So what are black women complaining about? And I just think it's deeper than that, and I think it's sick, that, we had this pathological need to defend, white women and at the expense of our sisters. So with that, I'm going to sign out. Um, yeah, so a dude's thought said every society has its dominant culture in some form of cultural programming. I'm not defending it, but I don't think it's an important issue. I already made my point about how there's other important issues, but this is important. I mean, cultural appropriation is important. You know, the mockery of black culture is important. Um, you know, the erasure of black women in media and, in terms of the image of black women, that's important. Cultural issues are important. Programming is important because when you are programmed, you can end up in a situation where you hate yourself, and that's society. But I'm going to sign out. I want to thank y'all for tuning in. Please rate, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you can receive notice every time I post something. Peace.